just released Skills 2.0 and I am impressed. They seem to make it easier every single day for someone without a coding background to be able to jump in and start automating their work every single day. I'm going to show you in this video what changed and how you can use it in your everyday workflows. So you could always create a skill just by asking Claude to create a skill, but now they added these 3 new features. The first is the evaluation part. So now what it does is it generates test prompts for you to test against your skill to make sure that the outputs are coming out right. So for example, if you're trying to generate pictures, it's going to give you 3 different options of pictures, and you'll go through each picture and say what you do like, what you don't like. Then by the end, it's going to take all of that evaluation and put it into your skill to make sure the pictures come out to the best that they can be for your circumstances. The next thing that it did, it's now more self-healing when it operates. So it does a couple things. So one, it's optimizing the triggers. So sometimes when you've called skills in the past, it didn't really realize that it needed to pick up that skill, and you said, no, Claude, please get that skill. That's what I wanted you to use. I made this in the past. But now it realizes when something like that happens, it can change its own triggers to make sure it doesn't run into that same problem again in the future. Then the next thing is that it gives itself descriptions of how it failed in the past. So sometimes you'll have a skill run even though you did all of those evaluations in the past, and it won't work the way you expected it to. So what it'll do is it'll take note of that so it can make sure that it doesn't run into that same problem again in the future. So again, it's self-healing, which is super cool. And this last addition is benchmarking. And this goes a little bit with the improve feature because it's able to start comparing its current results to its baseline of how it's run in the past. So it can start understanding itself if things are going correctly or not. So it's going to look at how often is it passing with your desired results. Do you keep saying, no, this isn't right, this isn't working? Or is it taking a longer time than it used to? And this has a lot to do with how things change over time, especially with model updates, because it feels like every single day we're getting updates from all of different AI platforms. And as you can see here, there's 2 different things that it's checking for. It's checking for regression and outgrowth. So regression is more like, okay, before the model updated, everything was running really well and everything's in the green. But then after the model updated, now something's not working quite right because something in the model changed the way that it thinks and the way that it operates. And so your performance dropped and your skill needs to be updated. So now your skills, because of the new skill creator, should recognize when that performance is dropping and automatically trigger an update for them. Then the other half of this is outgrowth. It just basically means that you're going to get the same results with the skill as you are without the skill, because the model has just gotten so good that it doesn't really need the skill anymore. And this matters because you don't want to be calling skills for things that the model can already do on its own, because it's a waste of tokens, right? Because every single time you call a skill, it has to load that entire prompt of how you said to do something, and it has to use every single one of those words to send off as a token, and you have to pay for that. So why pay for something like that if the model can just do something like that on its own? It's just trying to save you money and efficiency in your tokens. So let's see how this works in practice. First, you're going to need Visual Studio Code downloaded, of course. Then you're going to need to add in that extension for Claude. And so you see that I've got it in here. If you don't have it, just type in Claude Code, and then you'll hit that install button there. Then you're going to need to install the skill creator from Claude. And so you'll just type in /plugins, and you can see that I've already got it here, but you would just type in skill-creator, and then you download that skill creator. Then I've got my claude.md file that explains how my file system works and how I like to use skills and things like that. If you want this file, you can find it for free in my school community. So let's go over to the Claude Code chat and ask it to start making a skill for us. Help me make a new skill for a presentation. I want to make a presentation that I can just paste a bunch of images into the app Excalidraw. I will give you an outline of the things that I want to present, and then I want you to come back with images using Nano Banana that look modern and professional and make for an engaging presentation. And I always say it, I love opening up this thinking section so I can see the thought process that it's going through. That way I can always hit the end real quick if I need to give it some suggestions on how it needs to change things. And I also can understand where it's coming from when it gives me the plan. What kind of visual style do you want for the generated presentation images? Do we want them to be modern and clean, like a polished keynote slide visual, or do we want them to be kind of Apple style with minimal? We'll just go with that modern and clean for now. And we will need a Google API key to get access to Nano Banana, and so we'll just say that we need to set one up so I can show you how to do that quickly as well. Okay, and it's got this plan for us to approve, and this is looking really good. And the outputs have to be ready to drag into Excalidraw, which is awesome. It also knows that we need to get that API key as well and let it run. Great, it looks like it's got that first skill created. It looks like it's just ready to test it now. And so what we need to do is give it our API key. And so we can do that by going to this .env file, and we're going to put it in there. But it doesn't look like it has a placeholder yet, so we'll ask it to make that placeholder, and then we'll add in that API key, and I'll show you how to grab that real fast for Nano Banana. Let's set up the API key now and then run the evals. Make the placeholder for me in the .env file. Okay, and look at this. This is my favorite part about working with Claude Code is it just gives you the straight up link of where to go to get that API key. So all we need to do now is just click on this link and it'll take us right to the direct place that we need to go to get our API key. So we'll click on that and it'll take us here and we'll just hit create API key. We'll create a new API key. I'll call mine the Claude Code demo key because it's just a demo. We'll hit create key and then you'll just press this copy button over here where it says copy API key. We'll go back to our project and highlight right here where it says your key here and paste that in and then save it. Because if you don't save it, it won't be able to read it. So make sure you hit Command S or Control S, whatever you're using, just make sure it's saved. The API key is good to go in the env file. It's going to ask for permission on a few things and we'll just say yeah. And it just created that eval folder that we talked about earlier where it's going to put in all of those test cases and then see how each one performs. And so we can get the best results every single time. And like I said, it has these 3 different prompts with their expected output as well that it's going to use as benchmarks to make sure that everything is going just the way it should with the skill that we created. And it gives us a quick summary of what each one of these test cases are doing. And I think these test cases look good, so we'll let it know that it's good to go. And we'll do the evaluations on those. And it's actually really cool. You can see what it's doing over here to create these evaluations. It has a copy of the skill. So this is the presentation image skill. Then it also has the presentation images workspace. So what happens here is if you open this up, it has all 3 of the different evaluations that it's going to do. And you hit that drop down and it's going to show you the evaluations that it's going to do with the skill and without the skill and the different results that it got from it. We can click on these individually and see these pictures here that it generated. And you're like, okay, like this is what it looks like so far. Looking good, what we like. But what's even better is it actually creates an entire form that we can fill out to show what is better and what's not. And I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, and it looks like it's ready for us to evaluate it. So let's go check it out. Okay, so here's the first evaluation. You can see at the top that this is one that is using the skill that it created. And so here's an example prompt that I might be using for this skill. I need to make a short presentation. Here's my outline, and here are the points that I want to be going over. What are AI agents? How do they work? Real world examples, and getting started. So it's really cool because I didn't even have to come up with these prompts. It just came up with example prompts that I can test really quick to see if I'm liking the images we're getting. So we'll go through and see this. So this is for the What Are AI Agents page. Good explanation, seems pretty simple for someone to read pretty quickly. I think I like that. Okay, so this output's really good, but the first page looks very different from the other pages in style. So we're going to let it know that. This looks pretty good, but that first page is different in style from the last 3. I want to make sure that the style is the same across all of the images. Great, let's look at the next one. This is the one without the skill with the same prompt. So let's see how that one did. Okay, I'm not a fan of the way these ones look. They look really basic, they don't really explain much, and the style feels a little sterile. Okay, here's the next one. It says generate a presentation graphics for my talk on why your startup needs a data strategy. Okay, and this first one, it actually looks pretty good, but it looks kind of wonky with how big and stretched it is. Like it goes so far down, it doesn't even really look like a slide that you put in PowerPoint. And also, this is going into Excalidraw, so I probably want these backgrounds to match the Excalidraw background. So we'll note that real quick. The first image kind of has a weird design for dimensions. I like everything about it, except the background kind of makes it look like it should be a PowerPoint slide, but it doesn't even meet those dimensions. Also, all of the slides' backgrounds should probably match what the backgrounds look like in Excalidraw so that the elements look like they're supposed to be in there without a mismatched background. And I think I like how slide 2 looks as well, and so maybe if we got a style that looked pretty similar to that. Again, it just needs to make sure that all the styles are the same across everything, because even in this, it looks like it's a different background for every picture. It looks like every single picture has a different background. I do like that second slide most out of these 4 slides. And here's another one without the skill, and again, this looks kind of all over the place, and so you wouldn't really be able to present these in a row because it would seem so mismatched. So I'll let it know that. But I will tell you that there are times without the skill that it does work better. So it is good to see it with the skill and without the skill. This time it just is really not doing well without the skill. So we know that having a skill in this situation is a good thing, right? Okay, and last one, and this one's as if we're presenting on a RAG system to present at a tech conference. And again, these are looking too PowerPoint for me. Like I said, I want all of these inside of Excalidraw, so we'll let it know. All of these designs are looking more like PowerPoint slides, and I'm not really wanting things that just go on slides. I want them to look like they're floating elements that can just go right into Excalidraw, so I can focus on each section of the screen at a time, so it looks less structured and more freeform, but also still professional. And then here's the one without the skill. And again, these look very generic AI images. So we'll tell it that. We just submitted all of the evaluations. They should be ready for you to look at. So it's going to look for that feedback JSON file that we just saved. And it looks like it's taking really good feedback from our feedback to it, which is awesome. So let's see if it can generate the skill and get some really good outputs for us. Okay, and so here's that first one. I'm making a short presentation about AI agents. And these already look a lot better than they did the first time. So the format's matching, the styling and everything. I don't think that this is going to work. I think it just made up these like little boxes. So it's not actually going to be a transparent background. So we need to tell it to not do that. Don't try to do the transparent background thing. Those boxes will show up on Excalidraw. Instead, just match the background canvas of Excalidraw so it blends in seamlessly. And I have seen that this is able to have a lot more success if you're able to upload your exact outline, some of your talking points and things like that. It's able to get things a lot closer to how you might actually want them to look in your presentation. So this isn't bad though, this isn't bad. And actually we'll just tell it that problem right here so it doesn't have to go find that file. Hey, all of those looked really good. I just don't think we should be doing the transparent background thing. I think you're just generating the boxes in the background that would look like it's a transparent background, but it's not actually. Just make a background that matches the canvas from Excalidraw. Give me one more test with just one prompt so I can see if it's coming out the way I want it to. Okay, so after going back and forth for a few minutes with this thing, kind of like what you will be doing when you're doing these skills, I was able to fine tune it to get it what we want. I did give it a more realistic prompt to say, hey, here's all of the script that I'm going to be saying for these slides, generate something based off of that. And then I was able to get some better answers here after going back and forth. And so this is what it came up with me for my one slide on talking about how skills work. It talks about how we have an input chat, then we process the data through the skill, and then it automates the action. So I think that's pretty good. You could refine that some more if you wanted to. But what we'll do after you go back and forth with all of those little adjustments that you want, we'll say that we want that skill to be updated based on everything that it learned. Let's update the skill now for everything that we learned. And we'll accept all of those changes, and it looks like it's ready to go with all of our updates with the skill. So now all you need to do is just drag and drop it into Excalidraw, and you've got your images right there, ready for you to use. You can crop them up too. So with that, try and create something new today using the new skill creator. It's totally going to change things up. I love that it does the evaluations. It should be a game changer for you so you can start getting skills crafted the exact way that you need them to be. Make sure you like and subscribe, and you go to my free school community to grab all of the free resources from everything that we do, especially that Claude.md file that I think is very helpful. And I'll see you in the next one.